Hello and welcome to the Schuylkill Valley chapter of Credit Unions presents Homebuyer Education. This is our third in a series of 6 seminars on the home buying process. And with me this evening are 3 local experts that are going to help deep dive into the subject this evening of shopping for your home. If you've missed the 2 other sessions, please go to bctv.org and search on Homebuyer Education, and you'll be able to review those with all the tricks and tips that we've given for this home buying process. My name is Trish Shermot, and I represent just one of the 14 credit unions that represents the Schuylkill Valley chapter of credit unions. And I am going to have the other folks here introduce themselves, and then we're going to get the program started. So to my left is Bob. Bob, can you introduce yourself and tell these folks all about your expertise?
I sure can. Thanks, Trish. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Zwolinski. I'm the financial education coach for Sun Federal Credit Union, and I've been in the mortgage industry for over 25 years. So thank you for joining us. I hope I can share some tips with you. For those of you that feel you might be on the fence, hopefully this will help you jump into the home buying experience. For others, maybe you might just find that this might not be for you at this time, but thank you for joining us.
Good evening. My name is Kerry. I'm the branch manager in the West Lawn office for Sun Federal, and all told about 20 plus years in the credit union industry. And I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Third part in the home buying process, and sit back and enjoy the next 30 minutes, and hopefully we can answer a lot of questions or store up some more for you. So sit back and enjoy.
Hi, my name's Kirsten Keim-Shendge, and I'm the marketing manager with Belco Federal Credit Union. I'm the newbie of the bunch. I've only been with credit unions for a little over a year, but I spent 15 years in real estate marketing, so hopefully we'll all be able to share the knowledge we know and help you buy that first home.
Terrific. Well, let's get started. As you can see, these experts are here, and they'll provide a wealth of information. We had a lot of fun putting this program together for you. So let's talk about some of the objectives today. We've talked about the first steps of the home buying process. We've talked about shoring up your finances and looking at your credit report. So we're going to talk a little bit today about understanding the costs and looking at the different mortgage types. And again, we have some experts that have been in the lending arena for many years and can share what they've seen. We're going to look at some location, the kind of home that you want, the location, and some questions that you really need to ask yourself when you're shopping for the home, and know how to look. Maybe some things you haven't thought about. There's also some loan application things that we'd like you to look at when shopping for and applying for your mortgage loan. There's a process called closing that happens with every mortgage. We're going to dabble in that just a bit, and we will get into the full closing on the next session as well. There's also some great sources out there for some buyer assistant programs. So with that, I'm going to turn the next slide over to Bob, and he is going to get into some steps for the home buying process. Bob?
Great, thanks. Let's take a look at the first steps. One of the things you want to look at, of course, is your current budget. Look at, where your money is going. And by tracking everything, you're going to be able to create a spending plan. And at that point, you'll be able to identify where your money is going, these spending leaks, we call it. Those might turn into potential savings. Some areas you might look and say, well, I have too much debt. I need to go ahead and get those items under control. Look at your credit. Now, that's a good opportunity to go stop in at your credit union, sit down with a loan officer, pull your report, or go to annualcreditreport.com, as you see the website listed below. At that point, you'll just you make a determination whether there's something I need to improve or maybe build a credit report, or you have some maybe damage control, things on there that need to be corrected. And also on annualcreditreport.com, you're going to have some great tips on how to improve your credit score. So take a look at it. It's really a great resource to figure out credit, fixing credit reports and improving those scores. And don't forget about saving up for the down payment. You're going to be needing money for down payment and closing costs, which we'll go ahead and cover a little bit further down in the program here. Let's look at the cost, though, of purchasing a home. The first thing we have, of course, you're going to take on is a payment. That's going to be the principal, interest, taxes, insurance that may include that mortgage insurance. Get an idea of what a mortgage payment may look like, but more importantly, look at what you can afford, what you're comfortable with. Go look at the amount of money you're going to be needed for down payment. That'll represent your investment, in the purchase of the home. Closing costs. I know we detailed those a few times, but those are going to include items such as getting an appraisal, the credit report, doing title work, recording of the documents, etc. We can't forget about other items that are sort of outside of purchasing a home. Those are going to be, the mover's fees. There's going to be a cost of moving all the items that you may currently have in your apartment or another home, and talk to several different moving agencies and find out if you can get a free estimate from them, get a good handle on that. Don't forget the utility hookup charges. Also want to find out, do any of those utilities require down payments? Get all that hard stuff out of the way so that when you are ready to move into a house and you purchase a home, that becomes like a seamless type of transition. Now, prepayment of taxes, interest, insurance, these are called prepaids commonly. They're going to be set up as escrows. So when you close, they're going to put into like a little savings account, which you'll contribute monthly in that payment. That'll pay for taxes when they come up and they're due, as well as the insurance policy. Meeting with a lender. This is part I can't stress enough. Get with a lender because you're going to get so much information one-on-one. You're going to have questions. Go through the pre-qualification. They'll tell you what documentation you'll need to prepare, which will be things such as all of your bank statements, pay stubs, any other type of documents you'll need. But what you're going to do at that point, of course, is be able to identify your price range. You certainly want to narrow it down as far as how much you can afford. Make it an enjoyable experience in purchasing a home. Going through the pre-approval process is really the next step. Pre-qualified, you're talking about it, but pre-approval is going through the actual process. We're going to go ahead and check that credit, employment history, look at your income, get proper documentation for that. If you're going in with more than one person, be it a spouse or someone else, you want to make sure they have all of their documents together. You're going to identify your debts, make sure that they're in line. Remember, there are some debts that you'll be taking along with you on this purchase, along that new payment. So you want to make sure that everything is affordable. Of course, the property. You want to identify the type of property. I know Kerry's going to get into that a little bit later on the property types. And asset zone. This is a real important part because when you close, you want to make sure you have some reserves. Any of your retirement assets are great reserves to have. So let's look at what the lender is going to look for. Your ability to pay back the loan. Of course, that's really important. You need stable employment. So that's not necessarily working in the same place continuously, but it's having that work experience in the same type of field and just having a steady, income. Comfortable debt to income ratio. That's really, is the payment affordable? And when you take your other debts, is it still affordable? Can you pay everything they're obligated to pay? Sufficient assets. Do you really have the cash for that down payment? And all those other items that we talked about just earlier. How about willingness to pay back the loan? The thing that speaks volumes here is your credit report. How are you paying everybody else, including your current landlord, that rent? You want to make sure that everything's in place so that we can provide proof that, hey, I'm good for this. I can get this loan, and I've shown this history that I can make that payment. So you want a good bill paying history. Make sure, we also talk about letting them know, are you going to live in that property? Or is it an investment? I want to buy it and possibly rent it. Makes a real big difference on the program types. Types of mortgages. Today, with rates being so low, the fixed rate really is a winner. Most people are looking at fixed rate loans. What's really good about that has certainty. We know that interest rate's going to remain fixed throughout the entire program, be it whatever the term you choose, 30 years, 20. It won't change. The only thing that will change in your payment is the taxes and insurance as they adjust. Now, adjustable rates. Right now a lot of people are really not looking at them that much because there isn't much a difference between the adjustable rate and the fixed rate. But should the rates start to rise up, an adjustable rate may provide a great answer. You might get a 30-year mortgage, but do you need that rate or that mortgage for the entire 30 years. Most mortgages pay off in 7 years. It doesn't mean you move, it just simply means that you only needed the mortgage for that length of time. Well, if you can get an adjustable rate mortgage where it's staying fixed for a sufficient amount of time, which may be the first 10 years of 30, and it gives you a discounted rate, there's an opportunity to have a lower payment, maybe save some more money, go ahead and pay down more principal. So an adjustable rate may make a lot of sense. So again, a loan officer, when you get to the credit union, sit down and ask them about those options. See if they fit within your plan. Special financing. I know at Sun Federal we're going to have some funds that are available soon. They'll be helping out with down payment and closing costs. They are grants. These come up every once in a while. So look for the special financing or special types of grants that are available out there. Non-traditional. When we talk about non-traditional, we talk about loans that aren't mainstream, which you find in almost all institutions. This is where credit unions are a great resource. We have some programs that aren't the typical type of programs. We can fit maybe your needs where you might be a little bit, let's say, outside the traditional sources of loans. So don't forget to go talk to your credit unions. They've got some great answers. And I think at this point we're going to talk about the kind of homes you want. So at this point I'll turn it over to you, Kerry.
Thanks, Bob. What kind of house do you want? Wow, that really takes into consideration a lot of things and can be a little bit overwhelming at first, but let's try to narrow it down a little bit for people. It's very important that you have an idea in mind. Much like car shopping or even going to the grocery store, you just don't walk around not knowing you don't walk in the store not having a list or have an idea of what you want to buy. You want to apply that same thing with your home buying, looking for the house. You just can't go out there and expect to just find something wandering around. So that's the first thing I would stress the most. It's very important to have an idea in mind. And a helpful hint out there for the guys, you want to share this idea with your spouse or your significant other. Right, Bob?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Throughout the years, I've seen some people disappointed in other people's choices, so share that.
Yeah, that can avoid a lot of problems down the line, so just a helpful hint there. So what do you want to start with? Well, do you want a new house or do you want an old house? Do you want a new car or a used car? Each has its pros and cons. Let's look at new. I mean, new is new. It's going to have bells and whistles. It's going to have all the newest gadgets. It's going to be in the new developments, and it's going to be shiny and sparkly. And it's going to have all the things that you want. That's on the pro side. It might lack charm and character of some of the older homes and developments within the area, and these are the personal choices that you want to look at. Older, as some on the panel, older is older. You're looking at developed neighborhoods. They're with mature trees and odd-sized lots and different-sized houses. It really has a little bit of character to it, if that's something that you're interested in. It doesn't have that cookie-cutter feel of some of the newer developments. And again, these are personal choices, but the downside on an older home, you might be at that point where it might need a big replacement. A roof might need to be replaced, a furnace, the driveway. So those are some of the things to take into consideration. Again, these are all personal choices. Now, what types of houses are out there? Well, the staple of the U.S. is the detached single-family home, right? The white picket fence, mom, dad, 2.5 kids, and a dog. That's the standard, by itself, its own lot, single detached home. Some examples would be a ranch, would be one level, really don't have to deal with steps, which can be an advantage. You have bi-levels, or you have 2 stories, you got some contemporary, so they're all single detached family homes. You also have twins or duplex, which is one big home split in half, which usually can be a little bit more affordable for a starting couple or family. Just like renting, you want to make sure and hope that you have respectful neighbors on the other side. And sometimes in the cities you'll see a lot of row homes. Here brick row homes are predominant in the Reading area. Same thing, they're more affordable. The other thing, you're going to have neighbors on both sides, so you're just hoping that you find yourself a good spot. Some other types are condominiums, or commonly referred to as condos. It's usually a one-story. You own the unit, but there are common areas throughout the whole complex, maybe a pool or a clubhouse that everyone can enjoy. It's more of a hassle-free living. There is a monthly fee for that you want to talk to with the realtor before you delve into that. Cooperatives, not too much of that around here. It's like a condo, but the owner owns the building in a corporation, and you have shares in that corporation. So those are usually more in the big cities like New York and Boston, Philly, not so much around here. Next is, where do you want to live? Once you kind of figured out what kind of house you want, where do you want to live? Well, the golden rule of real estate, 3 words: location, location, and Bob, what do you think the third one is?
I'm going to go with location on that one.
Very good, location. And why is that? Well, you want to be in a property that everybody wants. If there comes a time down the road that you want to resell that, you don't want to be in such a unique property that it has a very small place for people that are looking at it. You want to look for an area that will appreciate, so that what that means is when you buy for one price, and down the road if you're going to move or downsize, you're hoping to get a bigger price for it down the road. Also very important, if you're a younger couple looking with kids, they want to know what kind of school, which school district do you want to be in. Looking at that can be very important. Along with the school district is going to come the taxes. They can wide range of taxes with school districts, as you know, around this area. Also commuter time, that can be a big thing with work. Do you want to, like I think we've all been stuck on 76 at one time or another, do you really want to go through that every day? Or do you want to be a little bit closer to work? Do you want to be close to stores? City, probably a little bit closer to stores, shops. If you prefer the rural, you're going to might have to travel a little bit to get to your grocery store or your shopping malls. Another one is, do you want to be close to your relatives and family? Or in some cases, you want to be, how far away do you want to be from your relatives or family? Bob, any comment on that one?
Hey, you know, some of us want to stay closer to family, and others not as close.
There you go. That's a personal choice. Public transportation. Is it easy access? Are you near a bus station? Are you near trains, trolley? Other things to consider: restaurants, museums, hospitals, your doctor, entertainment district. These are all the things that you should consider when you're deciding where you want to live. These answers will help you narrow down your search. And finally, special requirements. Once you have the type of house and the general location of the house, you want to make sure that it fulfills any special requirements that you may need. What could that be? Maybe if stairs are a problem, you want to make sure you're in a one-level ranch. If driving's an issue for you, you want to make sure you're near public transportation. If you have a youngster, you want to be close to the school, so the distance isn't a problem for that. If you want hassle-free living, if you don't want to cut grass or shovel snow, maybe a condo's for you. If you have a 1, 2, 3 car family, maybe a need for a garage or a driveway is something that you really want. Also, wheelchair accessibility is a key for people that need that. Plenty of houses have been fitted to access that, and you want to make sure that, if not, that those upgrades could be made to the home. Lawn care. Maturing, retiring families, they may not want to deal with cutting grass or shoveling snow, and will they be able to get assistance with that? This kind of special requirement can be anything you want it to be. It's really up to you. It's your home. It's the biggest thing you're going to buy, probably next to your marriage. So you want to make sure the requirement is what you want. If you want to make sure that you have a beautiful view of the sunrise in the morning, then that's a special requirement for you. But you really don't want to settle on a house that doesn't have everything you want. You really want to commit to something that is what you want, because it is very important to get the house that you're looking for and be happy and settled. So the next step, once you narrow it down, what type and where, and any special requirements, is how to find it. And I'm going to hand that off to Kirsten on how to find it and fill in those blanks.
All right, Kirsten, you're on.
All right, thanks, Kerry. Well, now that you, excuse me, now that you know what you're looking for, how do you find it? One of the most common ways is just to pick up a local newspaper and start looking. The Sunday edition is going to give you the largest selection of homes available on the market. But in this digital age, most people start their search online. There are plenty of websites that allow you to search for homes where you can select the price range, the city, the county, the school district, and other desired house characteristics that you were looking for. You may be looking for a certain number of bedrooms, a pool, or acreage. You'll be able to search for all those things online. Other ways to find houses for sale includes driving through neighborhoods you like and watching for sale signs, or attending open houses on the weekends. You can also pick up local shopping guides at entrances to stores such as Redner's, Giant, Weiss, or Turkey Hill. Berks County has a variety of great real estate guides, including the Real Estate Weekly and Homes and Land. Many of these publications also have online listings of the properties that they feature. They are updated weekly and monthly, so check back often. Finally, working with a real estate agent gives you access to the Multiple Listing Service, which is a comprehensive listing of homes for sale in your area. An agent will be able to filter your requirements into a list of homes for you. So if you decide you want to work with a real estate agent, what is their role, what is their responsibility? Make sure you understand the relationships among the real estate agent, the seller, and the buyer. The real estate agent can act as the seller's agent, or the buyer's agent, or both. As a buyer, you'll probably want a buyer's agent to represent your best interests. An agent will provide you with a printout of homes that meet your specifications. And once you narrow those choices down, they'll show you the houses that fit your requirements and guide you into making the best decisions. They'll provide you with information about the local area, which could include shopping, schools, taxes, and other services that you might need. They will present your purchase offer to the seller and negotiate on your behalf. And finally, they will close the transaction, which includes taking care of all the legal paperwork, arranging for inspections, accompanying you on your final walkthrough, and eventually handing you the keys to your new home. So you want a real estate agent, how do you find one? It's important to feel comfortable with the real estate agent who will help you find the home that's right for you. Ask your friends, relatives, and coworkers for referrals, and talk to several agents before making your decision. Get to know their personality and work exclusively with an agent that you like. The better they know you and your preferences, the easier it will be for them to help you find the home of your dreams. If you have a specific location or school district you want to reside in, you may want to choose an agent that specializes in that area. If you are unsure or have several locations you like, any agent will be able to provide you with all the information that you need. Finally, know the difference between a commission and a flat fee agent. The commission is a percentage of the eventual sale price of the home, and percentages can range anywhere from 2 to 10%, but generally in Berks County, they range between 5 and 6%. A fee-only agent is paid a pre-negotiated flat fee for services, irrespective of the sale price of the home. So you want to work without an agent. It is possible to shop for a home without a real estate agent. You will be doing all of the research yourself, so be prepared for investigating and allow plenty of time for your home hunting effort. As a non-agent, you will not have access to the local MLS system, but there are plenty of websites online that list properties for sale. You can drive through neighborhoods and look for sale by owner signs. You can check your local newspaper, Craigslist, or visit open houses. The local city assessment website will have data for specific properties when researching home information. By buying a house on your own, you assume more liability and responsibility, so it may be best to work with the lawyer when it comes to closing the sale. Kerry, how about some last tips for house hunting?
All right, house hunting tips to narrow your search. Get those phones out and take pictures, right? First, second, third time you see a house, you may miss something. So make sure you're taking pictures inside and outside the house. You can review them on your own at your own leisure. Very good idea. You can compare and contrast houses that you've looked at over several days, and that way have a better idea what you're looking for. Bring a spouse, a family member, a friend, or someone you trust with you, along with you. Another set of eyes is always good. Fresh set of eyes to see something maybe that you didn't see. Make sure your housing costs fit within your budget. Make sure the maintenance and renovations, that you don't take on something that maybe you're not experienced at. If you haven't installed a new kitchen and this looks like it needs a new kitchen, you probably want to be honest with yourself of what you can and can't do. Find out about the average utility costs over the past year. It'll help you with your budget. Does it cool off in the summer, and does it cost a lot to heat it in the wintertime? Think about your commuting costs. With gas approaching $4 a gallon, this is very important. It can have a very big effect on you. Are you near public transportation? Can you do that instead of driving? Is it too far for you to drive with the cost of gas? And compare what you like to have against what you really need. Here's where you have to be honest with yourself. Everybody wants something, but can I really afford that in the house? And just be honest with yourself. And you want to sit down and you really want to think it over. It's a big decision. You don't want to make any spur-of-the-moment decisions. You want to talk it over with people. You want to talk it over with your significant other, your spouse, your family members. It's a big decision. So take your time, gather all the information, cogitate on it for a while, and then make your decision the best way you know how. And I'm going to pass it over to Trish for our last slide.
Okay. One of the things that we all recommend that you do is please go search out programs that your credit union may have. You know, there's over 14 credit unions to choose from in Berks County, and those credit unions serve almost 200,000 people in our community, and they represent about $2.5 billion in assets. So many people have put a lot of trust in credit unions, and if you're already a credit union member, you know the credit union difference. If not, we invite you to experience the credit union difference and visit one of the credit unions that may be listed on this slide here. Before we close and take a couple questions, we do want to invite you to the next session, which will be on March 13th at 7:30 p.m. and we'll get more into the closing process of the home buying process. Also, we are going to have some guests from the local community and the real estate industry to help kind of what are their best practices and what have they seen with the questions from consumers. So before I close out, I think we have time for a question or two, and we do have some that had called in. So Kirsten, I'm going to direct this to you because of your experience in your past life before credit unions. Someone had asked, how many homes should I look at before choosing one?
Well, thanks, Trish. There's no set number of homes that you'd want to see. The typical average is about 15 homes, but you could walk in the first house and love it. But you really should take the time and visit a few houses just to know that you're choosing the right one for you and your family. So the answer is dependent on how many homes you want to see, and when you find that right one, you'll know it.
Okay, terrific. Thanks so much. You know, we're almost out of time. We do want to again invite you to join the next session, and we thank you for tuning in to the Schuylkill Valley Chapter of Credit Unions Presents Homebuyer Education Series. Thanks, guys, and have a good evening.
Thank you, everybody.